Good evening, students. Welcome to the second biology class. In the previous class, we had discovered how scientists were involved in inventing various parts of the cell. We had discussed about Robert Hooke, who in 1665 took a cork from the bark of a tree and how he could analyze that they look like a honeycomb and had many compartments in it. Each compartment was called a cell. We also have discussed about role of various scientists in inventing or discovering various parts of the cell. Thirdly, we discussed the cell theory, and lastly, we had talked about the organization of life. We had talked about how cell is the smallest part of a living organism, the indivisible part of a living organism, and more complex. If you take many cells, they'll become a tissue. If you take many tissues, they'll become an organ. Like that we have discussed in the previous class. In today's class, we will be discussing about the role of microscope. As you know, that in order to view cells, as you know, cells are minute in nature, very small. So you cannot see them by the naked eye. So in order to see them or view them, you need a microscope. So microscope is an instrument you must have seen in videos or you have seen in the lab also. That microscope is an optical scientific instrument. Optical means it works on the principle of light. Optical scientific equipment or instrument which magnifies very small objects. As you know, very small objects look big if you observe them under the microscope. So it magnifies very small objects that are not visible to the naked eyes. That is the purpose, making things look large when you cannot see them with the help of the naked eye. Now inside the microscope you have two lenses. Both are convex lens, and through the part you see the object, that part is called as the eyepiece, where you fix your eye and see the object on the microscope. And the sample is kept at a place, that place is called as the stage of the microscope. And below the microscope you must have observed that there is a mirror which adjusts the amount of light entering the microscope. So these are the basically main parts of a microscope, whereas you can adjust the focus of the microscope by using various knobs. You must have seen on both sides there are certain knobs. You can finely adjust them in order to clarify your visibility. Now if you see the image of objects under the microscope, you always can see real and magnified images of the object that you are keeping on the stage. So by that you can clearly analyze or clearly study the parts of the object. So microscope basically helps us in study of minute, very tiny objects. We can study all minute details, all tiny details of the cell by using the microscope. After my explanation, I'll be giving you a video from the YouTube where diagrammatic representation of the microscope along with how experiments are done with the help of the microscope will be shown to you shortly.